Is Paul Atreides a good guy or a bad guy? And which character is he most similar to? Here's my take. Spoilers for Dune Part 2. If you haven't seen the movie yet, go check it out. I hope you love it. Like this video and come back so you can share your thoughts. So I've never read the Dune books. I have no idea what happens further into the story, like with Dune Messiah. So I'm only talking about Paul Atreides in the context of these two films, Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. I see a lot of comparisons of Paul Atreides to Anakin Skywalker, another chosen one. But I don't think he's like Anakin Skywalker, where he goes from a traditional hero to a traditional villain. I think Paul Atreides is actually one of one, where he's neither of those. He's not a traditional hero, and he's not a traditional villain. He's actually a flawed, tragic character that is kind of the product of his environment and his upbringing, which a lot of it was out of his control. The two dead giveaways that told us that Paul wasn't a traditional hero in this story was the scene in Part 2 where Gurney tells him, "Your father didn't believe in revenge." And Paul says, "Well, I do." And also the scene where he kills his grandfather, the Baron. Baron is defenseless, helpless, on the ground. And what does Paul do? Walks straight up towards him and puts his dagger in his neck and says, "You die like an animal." Which was cold, by the way. Gas! The point of Dune is to show us that morality may not always be as simple as black and white. It's actually a cautionary tale of how an ongoing cycle of fear and pain can be led in two ways. One, through fear. Two, faith to control a large group number of people. When you really think about it, I think Paul Atreides is most similar to Ozymandias from Watchmen. Really think about it. What was Ozzy's goal? His goal was to kill millions of people to save billions. Paul Atreides is dealt with the same hand. And what does he do by the end? He decides to go through that narrow way. That line when Paul says, "Lead them to paradise," at the end gave me chills. Also, similar to Dr. Manhattan, now that Paul Atreides can see the past and the future, he's kind of following a script. The more knowledge and power he's cursed with, the less choices he can make as a leader, which ultimately makes him a cold utilitarian who isn't really leading with his heart. He's leading with his mind. And he determines right from wrong by the outcomes. The end justify the means. He produces the greatest result for the greatest amount of people. So if that means using atomic bombs on millions to create peace for billions, he's going to do it, and he's accepted it. It's the classic saying, the need of the many outweigh the need of the few. This is what makes the story of Dune so compelling. Is Paul a good guy? Is he a bad guy? What is he? Where does he fall on that moral line? Something to think about. I think overall, the lesson here is that he's a cautionary tale, and we should be cautious of following charismatic leaders who take advantage of fear or faith to lead us. Maybe it's best to rely on our own judgment and to rely on our own mistakes.